Lemon Amiga presents a Playguide video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hey there, welcome to another Lemon Amiga play guide and review. This time we'll be checking out Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker. This was developed by Archer MacLean and published by Virgin Games in 1991. The game begins with an attractive title sequence and some great music as well. We'll also get to see an impossible shot where the game shows us how to play snooker. Jimmy White's is operated with the mouse, and by clicking that mouse button, I think it is, to return back to the main menu, you can select from a number of options, 1 or 2 player game. We can select a practice option as well. We can even set up a trick shot from here and enter it back into that demo mode. And disc features you can load and save shots and things like that. So you can see we can edit trick shots, we can move things around on the table, and this is simply from the demo mode that we saw earlier on. And by holding down that left mouse button and moving our controller, we can look around the table using the mouse. We can press the clear button to clear everything off the table, and then by clicking on one of these symbols at the top we can plant a ball down, and once it's planted down we can then click on it manually and then place that wherever we like on the table. Once we are happy with that, we can then hopefully line it up for some kind of shot. You can see various things on the top of the screen, and well, you can save those trick shots to disk using those disk features. I think load game from disk and test, well, not quite sure, but hopefully you can save various things to the disk once you've designed them in the trick shot feature, and then just a small problem of lining that up to take a shot. So I've no idea what's going to happen at the moment. Let's just do this anyway and let's see what happens. Well, 2 balls went in, but the rest of them stayed where they are. So how to pot the green and the red, you can see some more information as well that we can do. And we can save and replace and all that kind of thing, so all those options are available. And so for this game I'm going to be playing a 1-player game. You can see we can set up a 2-player practice mode as well, where you can undo your last shot, and that's pretty crucial if you want to learn the game. In 1-player mode we don't get to undo, but we get to enter our name. Having done that, we can then choose our opponent, of which there are precious few in the game. There are basically 4, and Tom, Dick, Harry and Jimmy White. And of course they give us that easy difficulty, so I'm going to go for the easiest, of course, the easiest difficulty, and that is still very hard, as you're going to see. And then after that, at random, someone takes the break, and in this case it's Tom. So then the computer will take a shot, and very nice safety shot from the computer, where they won't actually pot anything. They will simply try to snooker you so that you can't get back from that shot, but that's pretty pathetic because we can still get to all the reds and recover from that snooker from there. So then it will give the player back manual control. You can see we're centered on the black at the moment, and by clicking on any ball we will then be centered around that, so we can look around the table from any point of it. But really it's the white ball that we really need to take care of. So by clicking on the various things, this controls our power of the shot, the power of the cue. The further back that we pull it, the more power that's going to get. We can even chalk up as well, and you'll have to do that between every shot in this game, whereas in real life you can get away with that every few shots. We can also create different spins, side spin and back spin, and view line. That just gives us the line of sight of the shot, so we can see where we're actually aiming. And by right clicking on that with our right mouse button or something like that, we can then make that into a double aim, which is handy. And then clicking on the ball itself will recenter the camera on the ball ready to take the shot, and you have to do that before you can take a shot. And then from there we can fine tune it left and right. We can also press the cursor keys left and right if we want to fine tune that even more, and I think we can hold down the right mouse button or something like that on these buttons to make that go faster. We can also change where the icons appear on the screen, either the top or the side, and we can even toggle the view angle as well, so that we can get a nice shot angle on that. And we can see the full table. Unfortunately can't take a shot from the full table, which would have been the most ideal in the entire game, but unfortunately not. So when we click on to take a shot again, that will reset us back on the table at some kind of an angle, probably the most inopportune north facing angle known to mankind, and it will not remember the shot that we did have lined up, and instead it seems to have lined us up for the centre pocket. So that can be an issue, and it's something that you have to watch out for. And I think if you hold down the other mouse button and pull it back and forward, that will zoom in and out of the screen. So you can see that just rotates the camera angle. The first thing we need to do is click back on the cue ball and then click back on this rotate function so that we can line it up for a shot. Having done that, we can then click back on to line it up for a shot. We can then give it some power, and if we need to add any side spin and chalk from there, we can then take that shot, and then we've got no idea where that ball is going to end up because the shot stays there unless you click on the full table mode, and then it will switch to the full table shot. Then the computer will take its go, and it will invariably switch the icons to the other side of the screen, which is highly annoying. Why can't the computer just leave it alone, whatever we set it to? But no, it has to change it. So taking an overview shot of the actual table, it's not possible to really get a great shot by literally walking around it in this game. No, you have to literally view it from a number of angles, and then once you bend down to line up the shot, then that's all you can do. You can't see the rest of the table from here, so we can't line this ball up with a centre pocket. We can offer some kind of option. Let's see what we can do. We're simply trying to, looks like, fire it forward or cannon it on into other red. I've no idea what's happening. Let's just see. And yeah, I've no idea where the centre pocket is because you can't see it on that camera angle, and I can't line it up even if we put on the line of sight facility and have that as a double line of sight. Unfortunately, you still can't see half the table to line up half the shots. And this game was released in an NTSC compatible mode, which means the bottom third of the screen will be black on PAL machines, and it will play full screen size and maybe a little bit quicker as well on an American computer. So Americans got to play this full speed, full frame rate, full display, and yet again Europeans only got to see this on 2/3 of the screen. So that's why we're using auto scale for this playthrough. So yet again, if we double click on the ball, that should hopefully line us up, and that will turn us around as well, and that will mean that from now we can actually look around the table from the ball and we can see what we can shoot from there, and we need to aim for a red first of all in snooker. So you would think this is an easy tapping shot, but because of the way the table is and balls and everything, you'll notice the pockets are a bit wider than normal. But because of the way everything's laid out, it's actually not easy unless you practice this game often enough to line up even easy shots. You'll either cut them too thin or too thickly. That was way too thin, and I didn't have any idea about that when I was lining it up. And yes, you can practice this game and get better at it, and definitely when I used to play this game and practice at it, I used to be able to use the side shot and banana the ball onto the target and make that goal wherever I liked.
Now, Christian, if I turn to you first, you're actually the national champion at this game. You must fancy your chances against the man who designed it.
Yes, I do.
You think you're going to take him?
Yeah.
Now, if I could go on to you, Archer, an excellent game you have designed, surely you must know everything there is to know about it, and this would be no problem to you.
I've got to talk to him for the tips first.
And last but by no means least, Jimmy, you'll be joining me in the pulpit. Who do you fancy for this challenge?
I don't know, I think it'd be even money, actually. I think I might fancy the kid.
But of course, it's been quite a number of years since I've played this game, and so I can't remember hardly anything about it. We're playing Tom at the moment, the easiest guy in the entire game, and Tom isn't easy. You have to make sure you get at least half of the balls into the pocket, otherwise you're going to lose that match. If we can line the ball up with the pocket, then we can knock it down there, and it does feel like playing snooker.
Christian's potting very well, but he's only got 20 seconds left now. He's going to have to hurry now, Jimmy.
Hurry up. Yeah, he's lining up the pink again, a bit to the right now with the diagram. That's it, about there. Maybe a bit more. Yeah, I think he should hit
very
it.
tense. He's got 7 seconds left. He's got to pot this one.
Yeah, great shot.
And that one's in. Does he have time to line up one more? 3, 2, 1. Oh, out of time, Chris, with a score of 31 points.
Tremendous.
As soon as we pot a red, we'll have to nominate a colour. Normally we'll have to shout that out, but in this game we'll have to click on whichever colour that we like. That will nominate that colour. That means we'll have to aim for that, and we'll have to pot that ball, and if any of the ball is struck before that, then it's a foul shot. And you can see things appearing on the balls as well. If you take too long, various things will appear on the screen, and move on to those a bit later on. So you can see flies appearing as soon as we don't take a shot. They will appear on the screen, and if we take even longer, you'll get a funny face appearing going blah 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 blah. And those are funny things. Archer MacLean actually got into trouble for the flies because the players at Virgin said that there was something wrong with their display. It had black specks all over it. So that was a bug in the game, according to them. But Archer explained that they were actually flies and it was meant to do that. So this game doesn't contain many hidden features. There were hundreds of hidden features in International Karate Plus, which was developed by Archer before this, but he didn't have too much free time to develop this game, so there aren't too many hidden things in it.
Pot the pink, he may even attempt to go off the brown here. I think he might just go straight to the pocket when he gets it round.
Okay, here he goes.
Yeah,
oh, and he
straight in.
that one. 18
He screwed
points.
it back, tremendous shot.
Screwed it back, leave himself a nice angle
Yeah.
for it again.
That's right. I think he's going to just stay on this pink and score points from this shot, because he's already got it lined up. So he's very clever what he's
another
done
nice
there.
one again there. Screwed it back a little bit.
At this early stage of the game, it's given us an easy time against the computer, and we've managed to down one of the reds, and now we'll need to find another one. And there are plenty of easy candidates here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to easily pot them, because we have to get the angle pixel perfect. And you can see from that angle, well, maybe that's cutting it looks a bit too thin to me, and we're going to miss it again. But as soon as we go back to the ball, we're going to lose that shot. And if we click on take shot by mistake, that will then line us up with the north side of the table, which is ridiculous, and that will then take that shot, which is now a foul. So we've now lost the match, not like we're going to win it anyway, but that foul was basically caused by this ridiculous interface, which is a bit of a worry because it keeps changing itself around every time the player takes a shot or does something, and you would hope that the camera angle stays fixed, so no matter what we do when we take that shot, we'll simply get that fixed camera angle. But unfortunately not in this game, so we're now seeing Tom clearing up the table.
Okay, 37 seconds left. Oh, 31, he's now equalled Christian's score. It's all in this next ball. He's got 30 seconds left here. What's he going to go for, Jimmy?
He's going for the same shot again in the middle, but from the other side of the table. He's just going to stun it in. That's what he's done.
Oh, and he's done it, and Archer's won.
This game was originally called Archer MacLean Snooker, and then one day a guy from Virgin said, "Hey, I'm friends with somebody who knows Jimmy White. Would you like us to ask him if he'd like to put his name on the game?" And Archie said yes, and then after a photo opportunity and things like that, they put Jimmy White's name in the game, and he appeared on the box art as well. Jimmy White, of course, never won the World Championship, but he was known as the people's favourite. He took over that mantle from Alex Higgins, and he wasn't as fast as Alex, but Alex Higgins was supposed to be a hurricane around the table, and Jimmy White was known as the Whirlwind. So they were friends and they did play together, and they had massive respect with each other, and the only difference with the Whirlwind is he's not downing gallons of ale in between every shot. So he, unfortunately, unlike the Irish Crusader, did not win any World Championships, but he was second place quite a lot of times, and because he was always second place, people kind of vouched for him and people supported him whenever he played.
Now, bad luck, Christian. 31 points, very good score, not quite enough. How do you think you could have scored better?
A bit quicker, I was too slow.
Archer, you wasted no time with those balls at all. What was the secret of your success?
Well, I was lucky on that first pink, but it helps writing the game as well. So.
Right, okay, and now I turn to our expert, Jimmy. Jimmy, a quick summing up of the game. The boy Christian did well, but not quite enough.
No, he did very well, but Archer being a bit more experienced, he played the same ball in the middle 3 times, which gave him a lot of points. But no, it was close.
Right, now, Archer, as our winner tonight, you win the best prize in television, a golden Games Master joystick. Another round of applause for our winner and our television Christmas prize. Thank you.
This game was ported onto a number of machines, including, of course, MS-DOS and also the original PlayStation. I remember playing this on the PlayStation. It was still in NTSC compatible mode, so even on the PlayStation we still had to put up with a big black board around it, but you could play it. It was virtually a one-to-one port, and of course it was virtually wasted on a 3D PlayStation, but it was possible. and Archer MacLean went on to develop further PlayStation games after he ported this game over. And I remember one of those was kind of a Mercury game, which was a fun game, reminded me of a Mercury Maze. We can see now that we basically require full clean-up to win the match. Even though we're only 15 behind, it's still not easy. The computer player trying to double the ball into the pocket, and the computer AI is at a premium when it comes to doubling balls into pockets, so that's definitely kind of a bug, and that's something that you can make use of if you become good at the game. Sometimes these long shots are a bit easier because you can kind of line them up, but the corners of the pockets will be angular, and if that ball is a straight ball, it will simply hit off the angle of the corner of the pocket and bounce around. So unlike real snooker, well, it's pretty difficult to aim for the far angle of the pocket and then tap that in there, and I kind of fluked that in by perhaps hitting it a bit too thick. Didn't really matter, it went in. So now we can nominate another ball, we can nominate another colour. What have we got? Looks like an easy, well, that could be on the cushion actually, that yellow. Well no, it's directly over the pocket, so we really should be aiming for the pink under any circumstances, because that's also over the pocket. It's also over the centre pocket, but we're going to completely ignore the pink and the high points. We're trying to go for the easy shot to stay in the game. So it's all here for the game. Let's see if we can manage to do it. And no, we hit the green before we got anywhere near it, and we sank the green, so that's kind of a double foul shot. Back in the day, we definitely had snooker celebrities. I think Steve Davis won the World Championship maybe 6 times, and Stephen Hendry won it maybe 7 times. And recently we also have different players, John Higgins and Ronnie O'Sullivan, who I think has also won it 7 times. So between them, they virtually dominated those decades. And before that we had Ray Reardon, who also dominated the decades as well. And before that there was Joe somebody who also dominated the decades. So the art of snooker does go back quite a number of years, and we still have a number of celebrities today. And that's a foul shot here at the World Snooker Finals. And back on the table, it's not looking good to win the frame from here. This is the final versus the champion, Stephen Hendry. The Whirlwind repositions himself on the baulk side of the table. It's going to be a long shot, and this is going to require some backspin, which he doesn't put on, and he fails to pot the ball. That gives a chance now to Stephen Hendry. And that's a narrow miss. Oh, the crowd won't like that. Stephen Hendry gives up a shot, which brings Jimmy back to the table here at the Crucible. The people's champion from Tooting in London. Let's see if we can pot this straight ball. And he's potted it. He's put backspin on there to bring it in with the colours. And all the colours are spread out on the table. Let's see if he has enough in him to pot the blue. He's looking at the blue now. He's bending over that table. It's going to be a tight shot. And the balls are making fun of him here at the World Final. And he's lining it up. It's going to be critical to get this shot. He's hesitating. And he's putting some side spin on it. Let's see if it was the right thing to do, and no! And the crowd can't believe it here tonight. Jimmy White playing like a wally. That means the pizza face from Lothian gets back into the frame. And he's played a safety shot. Always the worst part of his frame. Always the worst part of his strategy, the safety shot. That means the wand from Wandsworth can continue the break. And the wand hasn't been too kind to him. That's a terrible shot. His safety play is worse than Henry. Let's see what the loved from Lothian can do in this match. Spotty Jock. The head from Edinburgh, here he is. And he's down in those colours like they don't exist. The pockets are as wide as a jaw for him. No problems for Henry. Oh, look at that. The pressure getting to him here tonight at the final. That means Jimmy White, with the expensive teeth and the rockstar hair, gets to move up to the table. He's eyeing those reds. It's going to be a difficult shot. Can he cut it into the centre pocket? He's looking at the cut, thinking about screwing it back for that pink. A South Londoner, south of the river. Is he going to pocket into that centre pocket tonight? And no, he aimed for the corner pocket and missed it by an absolute mile. That's a letdown for Jimmy. Steve and Henry now doing the business here at the Crucible. I can hear his manager shouting from a cloud-filled room backstage. And all the crowd absolutely not going wild here tonight. We've seen some masterful snooker here at the Crucible. Some World Championship final played snooker. Unfortunately, not a single shot of it emerging here now from Jimmy White. He's now snookered on this shot. What is he hoping to do? Is he hoping to cannon this in on a wild shot? Is this even possible? Jimmy White here. The showboat with the most. Here he is, showboat into the crowd now. Can he bring himself back into the frame with 20 points behind? Or is he going to need a snooker? He's eyeing up the ball. Let's see if this goes anywhere. No. Jimmy White scores 0 here at the Crucible. No, he's potted the black. That gives Unfortunately, the king from Queensferry. Another free shot and a whole load of points here at the final. And Queensferry are definitely going to be not singing tonight with shots like that. And the talent here at the Crucible has really gone downhill recently. Not since Steve Davis and Ray Reardon have we seen such class completely wasted. He's going for a long shot. Can he make it? And so that's my review of Jimmy White's Snooker, and there isn't much else you can say about this game. It's got a number of icons and it moves very quickly in 3D, and on the Commodore 64 we got various 3D snooker games and Tilt as well, which was a very fast 3D game, so it absolutely was possible. And of course we've got Driller and all those other Freescape games which moved at basically stop motion animation. But on the Amiga with 7 megahertz, 7 whole megahertz, it was possible to get something a lot smoother, and it was even possible to get something a lot better than this. But they didn't. For its time and its day, this seemed groundbreaking in 1991. And don't forget the original Duke Nukem came out on the PC in 1991, which was a basic platformer. So this was definitely a step up from a basic platformer. We also had Knights of the Sky as well, which we'll be reviewing this series, another 3D game. And so 3D was really taking off on the Amiga, while on the PC it could barely create a bog standard 16 coloured platform game. But as soon as VGA came out, that all changed. So the Amiga still led the world at this point, and it was still king of the conversions, with sampled speech sound effects and actual noise of actual balls hitting each other on an actual snooker table. And you can see, lining up for this particular shot, I'm lining up directly for the pocket, it looks like. I'm not even going to hit that ball, even if I hit it from this angle. It would be terrific, as I've said at least 3 times, if we could alter our aim from that angle and simply pot it from there. Some people hail this as a masterpiece, but I definitely don't, because of the missing feature like that. And yes, you can pull back and you can do all these things and zoom out and line up the absolute perfect shot, but you're basically aiming into outer space when you take that shot with this game, because as soon as you do it, it's going to zoom back to the ball again, and if you're not careful, it's going to zoom and aim to the north again, so you're going to completely miss and ruin the shot. So it is possible to follow the camera angle around if you hold down the button on the cue ball. That makes sure that we follow the target. Whatever we've hit, it will follow it. And that's a good feature. And definitely the camera angles are a step up from Indy 500, where we got various camera angles which replayed highlights in the game. And I think you must be able to press highlights button at some point to save those highlights to disk. But sometimes it can be pretty annoying when you click a button and it rotates us 180 degrees around and then puts a lot of flies on the screen when we're trying to line that up. So we're trying to use the zoomed out angle here to try and do something like that. And it works! if you can get that to work, if it is possible to get that to work, then you can get it to work, and we can actually aim for shots. We're now clawing our way back now against Tom, and of course Tom, Dick and Harry is a reference to, so basically it's a short term for everybody. So if it can be accomplished by anybody, they say it can be accomplished by any Tom, Dick and Harry. So that's where that saying comes from. And one of my favourite shots is aiming for the corner of the pocket, and hopefully it will wobble itself in there. And you might notice several professionals also aim for that inside corner of the pocket, and then it will bounce its way in there rather than the pocket itself. And that sometimes means that the shot itself is easier, unless you, well, basically hit it like that, and whatever it is, it didn't work. And usually if you hit it too thin, it misses the pocket narrowly close to us, and if you hit it too thick, it'll miss the pocket on the other side. So you shouldn't really be aiming thin or thick. And look at that, Tom managed to get the perfect shot every time. So you really have to be good at snooker, and yes, I have managed to beat Tom once in my life, I seem to remember. But you have to be good at snooker, and good at this game in particular. It's not like playing snooker for real, you have to be good at the game in order to beat it. We need one snooker now, and it looks like the Ronnie O'Higgins has managed to clean us up. And Judd Trump and everybody else is trumping us, and look at that, almost a foul shot as well. So I think the pockets are quite wide in this game. I think wider than a normal table, which is good because it's more of an arcade snooker rather than an actual one. These corners aren't necessarily measured out perfectly, and you can see the ball in the distance is only just a bit smaller than the balls close up. So even though they tried to make it absolutely perfect, it's only half the size, and yet it's very far away. So as the ball disappears, it gets smaller. And well, they tried to create the physics, and they tried to get that looking good, and that's perhaps because they could get it in 1991. And that's the frame over at the World Snooker Championships here in Sheffield. Just the final black. And it's Stephen Henry, who's now the Embassy World Snooker Final Champion of 1991. He wins a grand prize of $500,000 and a trophy. So that's Dan versus Tom. We lost by an absolute mile. And so that's my playthrough of Jimmy White's. And so a few years later, Archer MacLean returned again, and in 1992 he released another game. As you can see, that's known as Archer MacLean's Pool, or 9-ball or whatever. And I think in the same year he rebadged the exact same game as Archer MacLean's Billiards American, or billiard singular American, as it says in the title page. So Archer MacLean's Billiards with an S, I think, came out in 1992, and that has, well, the same introduction. And that's an NTSC game, of which all of these were NTSC games, so I don't think we actually got a PAL conversion of any of them. At the start we can choose 8 ball or 9 ball. Let's go for the traditional 8 ball for this. And of course we can play 1 player mode. And this time our opponents rack up. You can see some funny names there: Backspin Jim and Jimmy Brill, Silly Willy, and you can see Smashing Sally, Sam Slick, One-Eyed Jack. So quite a few funny names there. It also gives us hopefully a fighting chance at the game. In this billiards game you can see the table is narrower, and I think the pockets are maybe even slightly wider. I'm not quite sure, maybe the same, but you can see everything's now a bit more clustered together. So hopefully it should be easier, at least for my pathetic skills, to pot through these. So it doesn't really matter what you pot at the start as long as something goes in. So you can use exactly the same skills as you learnt in the other game. In this one, it's virtually the exact same game, except for the table's a lot smaller. So there's still a problem if you click on the ball and you haven't lined it up for a shot. If you click on line it up for a shot and you click it on the wrong button, unfortunately it'll aim north, just like that, and it will waste a shot. So exactly the same infuriations are in the game. And if you're aiming out into space, it should say, "Are you sure?" or something like that, but it doesn't. It just says, "Alright, I'm going to take it anyway." So there's no intelligence on the computer side, virtually none. It just aims for a shot, and there's certainly no intelligence on the computer side when it comes to our rules either. Sometimes pool can be a bit more fun than snooker because it means lots more colours are available, and you don't have to go to different colours. Once you've taken a shot, you can simply aim for the same colour. So that should hopefully mean if you're aiming for red like I am, we can simply aim for the reds for the rest of this game. And we can see one nice easy pot. It's quite close and a faraway pot. Both of these are nice and easy, and hopefully we need to down both of these if we want to stay in the game. Nobody's actually managed to pot any shots so far, so I'm trying to take it easy. So I'll put some forward on that, and then it will bounce on the top pocket and hopefully bounce its way back again. And now we're looking at the second red. It's not so easy to pot anymore, but it's still highly cuttable with that, and so you can see how easy this game is. We don't really want to follow the white ball in, so I would normally put some backspin on it, and we don't really want to whack it in there either. We do want to pull it back for those other reds, so a bit of slide wouldn't hurt either. And because we messed around with that shot so much, we didn't even pot it to begin with, and you can see we would have been miles away from those reds anyway. We're playing this on a nice fast CPU, so the computer player doesn't take forever, and the computer player can take a long time if you're playing this on a stock machine, but as soon as you upgrade it to an all 20, then the game speeds up. Of course, all 3D games benefit from having a faster CPU. Sometimes we can even fluke shots. Because this is a smaller pool table, we can fluke our way around it, and we can have a great time doing it. Even if we don't have a clue how to play snooker, we can simply play pool. And so for me, I had much more fun playing this game than I did trying to learn Jimmy White's. But pool is kind of an easier version of snooker, and so if you can get good at this game, maybe you can get good at the other one.
But I'm still pleased to welcome back the People's Champion, Whirlwind Jimmy White. Right, now Jimmy, tonight you're playing against the machine. How's that going to be different than playing against, say, Stephen Hendry?
Well, a little bit different. I'm going to try and beat the machine by time. I'm going to put maybe a red and all the colours.
And again, those angles are really knocking us out. I really should be practicing my zooms so that we can centre ourselves on the ball and then zoom out. And that should mean that we've got a fighting chance. But it doesn't look like the computer is going to get many more shots in from here. And in that case, it's made all his shots worse by putting them all together. So now I want to pop this one, but I also want to break up those reds. It's not going to be too easy. I want to cut it very thin, and I want to tap it basically. And it's missed the reds, but luckily it's missed the pockets as well. So it does give us a fighting chance. So we might even be in with a chance of winning. You can see we can't see the scores on the screen for some reason in this game. It doesn't bother to show us any scores. But we know we're in front because we've now got only 2 reds, I think, left on that table. Only 2 reds. So we can count them up now. We're in danger of even winning our game. But not in too much danger, obviously, otherwise this review would be a lot shorter than it is. And so we're into the last 10 minutes of the review now, so you can see cue in hand, I think that said, not quite sure. Bop, bop, that's the easy way to pot it, and it looks like we've given the computer player a fighting chance. And that's definitely what you don't want to do. And that isn't quite a snooker. And, well, that is a bit tight on the middle pocket though. I could get it in, but it's going to end up on the top end of the table. So I could whack it in and do a 3 cushion rebound. But I'm thinking it's just going to rebound on this corner anyway and not cut. So I'm actually thinking about cutting the other one. Well, we're going to try it. I don't think I can apply the side onto this to loop it around that corner. That's the only problem. So, well, I'm thinking about it. I'm trying it. Is it going to work? No, it does not work.
Okay, both the computer and Jimmy lining up that first red, yes.
Jimmy's got quite a difficult shot here. It's quite close to the cushion.
It's going up. Oh, it just rattles, but the computer's potted the red. The computer's ahead.
You can see from the cover art, the screenshots even have a ghosted effect on them, where it's pointing out the destination of the ball. That does not appear in the game, so you could say that's false advertising. All those ghosted shots, unfortunately, as far as I know, don't appear. So there is some things that they could have done to improve the game, but don't forget, in the early 90s, this was almost witchcraft to computer technology. 3D was in its infancy, and it had been since the mid-80s when it came out onto the computer scene. And, well, 3D wireframe 3D, of course, have been going since the 1970s. And that's definitely a point towards queuing up and choking the queue between every single shot. Because unlike real life, this game definitely requires us to do that. Otherwise we'll have a foul shot. So that's another unfairness in the game.
Again, it's not an easy one because he's got that inverse angle on it. Just trickled there.
Again, Jimmy misses the back of the computer now. It's on the yellow. The computer 2 balls ahead. The black.
Fine recovery shot there from Jimmy.
But, well, we're out of our chair, can you believe it? And there's still 2 balls. We should be able to tap that in. And that's a hard cut. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm probably going to go for the hard cut. Look at that angle. It should be possible. But now that I've made that, because we're on the wrong view, I can now no longer take that shot. I don't think. No, I can't. So that's why I can't give this a great score. The original Jimmy White's got tons and tons of score and got 9 out of 10. And this game, well, the pool game on an Amiga, got also tons and tons of scores, and it got 8.8, which I'm going to round up to 9 out of 10. So both of these games, for their time in their day, were unbeatable, and, well, maybe we could have got some crowd or something on an AGA version. But basic format remains the same, even with snooker games today.
Narrowly avoiding disaster there.
Computer's on the green though now.
And Jimmy's on the yellow.
And the computer wants the green. Jimmy lines at the yellow. The yellow's in. Great shot from Jimmy.
Yeah, he's coming back. He's fighting back.
Bit of follow through there.
That's right.
Come back.
He's not going to let any console beat him.
And we find ourselves on a black ball game. There are 3 balls between us and winning, and what I normally do under these circumstances is aim for nothing. I'll just whack that thing around the table and hope it goes in somewhere, because every time it doesn't go in somewhere, that increases the odds of it finding somewhere else to go. But I tried to cut it in there and it didn't, and that means that it isn't going to go anywhere. Luckily the guy snookered with the black ball, so unless he tries to double it into the pocket, which I very much doubt, we're going to get another shot. And nope, that was never going to work. But because we're right on the cushion, it's going to be difficult to hit this. It's going to be top spinning all the way through it. So usually the long shots are my favourites, and sometimes it's good, or it's even possible, to fluke those in.
To brown at almost exactly the same time. Okay, Jimmy's on the brown now. Jimmy's very calm for a man who's 1 ball behind the computer, Andy.
That's right. This is it. Glorious queuing action.
Brown goes in.
And there it goes, straight in there. Which means we're in with a chance. And we're going to have to feather light touch this in, and then it's a black ball game. And look at that, if we leave the cursor alone in this version, we get eyes watching us, and we get the funny faces and the flies as well. So eyes outside instead of on the balls.
Mega drive.
Lines up the blue, yes, the blue's in.
Perfect shot. Jimmy's
And now they're both on the pink. It's level peg in the computer and Jimmy. Yes, the pink's in, 1 more.
He's got a really tricky black
Yeah,
here.
it's possible. Both on the black. Can Jimmy do it?
But those are still highly distracting when you're trying to line up a shot. I've got a funny feeling that this is not going to go in. It's simply going to bounce back to the top of the table. So let's see. Oh, see, I'm putting side shots on it now. That's definitely going to wreck it, I think, probably. And it's a foul. We didn't even hit it because of the side shot or whatever. It didn't even hit it, and we potted the white. So foul. So now that gives a free hand to the computer, and if you can't pot this, then there's something wrong with that AI.
He's gone for the treble.
The black-
Gets a double kiss on it. Oh,
Just misses it.
and the computer's about to take the shot. This is going to be desperately close.
Jimmy 6 he's done it! By the narrowest of margins, Jimmy White wins the challenge!
Bob wins the game. And 16 shots, 1 foul, and the final ranking is 24%, which is not worth a comment. Which isn't bad because we only had 1 ball in it. So I really like that game, and it's nice and fast and 3D. So that's my review of Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker. If I was going to rate this, I'd probably give it a 7. It doesn't get the top score, 9 out of 10, because of those annoyances. And if master the camera angles and zoom out, surely you can take any shot that you like. It's got all these trick shots and everything else that you can save up, and you can set up tables and do all kinds of things. And do you want to see the hints panel? No, I'm not bothered about that. So it has got tons of features packed in there for its day, and it's definitely worth 7 out of 10. There's nothing broken on it, and there's nothing on it that's definitely a game breaker. So as long as you get used to those camera angles and you get used to how to take shots, then surely it's playable and it can be fun as well. So I'm just going to line up a trick shot, and here I'm just going to place a few pool balls down, so you can do trick shots in pool as well. And well, I can line that up, and so you're going to see a trick shot, and unfortunately I can't hit that one, but you're going to see a trick shot to end this video. And so which ball should I aim for? This one probably. So here we go. Are you ready?
Now, talk us through this shot we've set up for you.
Right, where the arrow is pointing at this red here over the pocket,
Right.
I'm going to try, with the cue ball being based here, I'm going to try and pot the red over the pocket, which is like, well, it is impossible actually, but I'm going to play a 3-ball plant.
Right.
So I'll just take this over to there.
Okay, well, good luck, Jimmy.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
Right. Should cannon it and knock the red in.
Oh, brilliant! Another round of applause, thank you very much, Jimmy White!
Thank you for viewing this play guide and review, and we'll see you again in another one sometime soon. Thank you.